Jamal and I's here with Dave Coldwell. We've just had Anthony Fowler's victory over Brian Rose. In terms of the visualisation you had of that fight prior to it, how did it match up to it?
Pretty much like that. As long as as long as Ant kept the red mist away and didn't try and bang him out and use his brains and he did. So I'm happy with tonight. Yeah.
There was a bit of red mist, wasn't there, in the clinches? Yeah. Talk to me about your messages in between rounds, because it did happen quite frequently, didn't it, between both of them?
Yeah, he had to stay focused and not get carried away and not let Brian get into his head. Yeah, he has to stay focused and stick with a plan, not that otherwise he starts swinging and start being ragging and start throwing punches when he's well out of range. That plays into Brian's hands. And there were moments when he started veering off, but then you pull him back onto course, and that's what you have to do.
And it was a very humble version of Anthony Fowler in that post-fight interview. You know, he's very...
He's a nice kid. He is a nice kid. Yeah. You see, what you've got to remember is him and Fitzgerald hate each other. Yeah. So there's never going to be nice tonight. And they're not the first two, and they won't be the last two. But in the past, he's talked himself up and chatted a lot of crap about himself to get followers, because he's part of this.
How do you feel about that? Because you're the complete opposite type of guy to that. So do you have some sort of say in terms of how he portrays himself?
He's his own man, but I try and educate him and try and be a little bit more like himself. Let people actually see him rather than his persona that he thinks is going to get more followers, which then entails more notoriety where people come and see you. He buys into and he understands. Listen, there's a lot better fighters out there that you've not heard of because they haven't got a personality. With Fowler, you either love him or hate him, but that's how he's willing to be. He's willing. Yeah, they're going to tune in. They're going to have they've got an interest in him, and that's how he's chose to be, because he doesn't want to be one of these fighters that puts all his work into it, puts his life into boxing, for no one to know who he is, who he earns no coin, and he gets nowhere up the ladder. When you're known, you can get up there a little bit quicker than guys that aren't. There are lots of kids that are boxing 6th round level on non-TV shows that are very good fighters, but you've never heard of them, you know, and that's because they've got no personality, they've got nothing behind them to get them out there. And he chose to go down the notoriety sort of route, and it's worked because we're sat here talking about him. Do you know what I mean? Or stood here talking about him. But he's actually genuinely a nice kid.
And he was incredibly honest about the fact that, he was losing sleep over that loss to Fitzgerald.
That loss hurt him. But that's why he's been more focused, switched on, and less concerned about what other people think about him in the build-up to it, and to this one. And so I'm happy with him. He's developing as a man as well as a fighter, and that's all. Listen, he's 28, but he's a young 28. Yeah. If he's a young 28, and he's developing, and so that's all I can ask is that my fighters, as fighters and as men, they develop.
And for me, losses like the one against Fitzgerald, they can really be they can be vital into making you step it up that next level.
100%. Listen, if he hadn't got beat on points by Fitzgerald, he would have got knocked out by somebody at a higher level. So it kind of saved him an embarrassing knockout loss, because it's given him a second chance to learn from that fight and the mentality he had for that fight, to then address it, come back at a similar sort of level, and then you see that performance tonight. Now he has to learn, soak up from that experience tonight, add it to what he's already gathered, to then develop and move on again. Let's go another level. That's what he has to do.
The Fitzgerald fight is always going to be at the forefront right now for the very reasons we've just stated, and he did mention his name in the post-fight interview. Obviously weren't nice things said. That's the salesman in him coming out?
It weren't nice things, but he weren't telling lies. Yeah. He weren't telling lies, Listen, it is what it is. He weren't telling lies. So he said, listen, them two are not going to get on. They don't get on. Fitzgerald said the stuff since the fight. It's how it is.
It's excitement though, isn't it? That becomes a main event in its own right now, that doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Surely that's an Echo Arena sellout.
Yeah, I'd say so. But Fitzgerald won, so maybe we have to go to Manchester, whatever. We don't know. Yeah. So we'll see.
So Fitzgerald is looking like he's going to go up against Cheeseman next. So again, it's a big if he gets past Cheeseman. But in the meantime, what is Anthony going to be doing?
he'll have a rest, and then we'll get a fight at this sort of level again. You know.
Awesome. Right, we'll leave it at that, Dave. Thank you so much for your time. Cheers.